Good night. Welcome to Conversation with Richard Burke. Good night. We have everything fixed now and ready to go. We had some technical difficulties with the software. We had to re-download it and all that. But we're up and running. Ready to go. Good night, everybody. Text me. Let me know where you're watching from. I hope everybody can see the broadcasts. Now I'm seeing it. We don't have any issues. Text me. Let me know where you're watching from. Good night to everyone. It's 9 p.m. here 9:05 p.m. here in New York, 9:05 p.m. in Guyana and the rest of the Caribbean except Jamaica. And good morning to those of you watching from Europe, Africa, and Asia. Good morning to my friends in the United States military, Guyanese, who are in Germany and in Japan. Good night to my friends in Africa. watching particularly from Nigeria. And we have an audience in India as well. Good night. Good morning to everybody. Text me, let me know where you're watching from. I always like to challenge my Bartica folk. Let me know who's on from Bartica. Share the link, everybody. Come on, share the link, share the link, share the link. I know we haven't been on in a while, but you know, this is a difficult business. I'm always busy, so whenever I get time, I get to do the show. Good night, Andre and Ned, watching from West Coast, Demerara, sorry. Hey, where's them? Mary Figuera, watching from Montreal, Canada. Good night. Is it? I think it's Figuera. Patricia Kisoon, good night, watching from New York. Jasmine Shepherd Innis, watching from Port Village, Maikoni. That's another village. That's my father's area, Maikoni. West Coast Babis. Kenneth the Floormat, good night. Come on, share the link, everybody. Very important topic tonight. We're going to be examining the PPP's history of racism and racial slurs, which they then rationalize. So share the link, everybody. Share the link, share the link, share the link. If you're watching me from Facebook, ensure that you like and follow me. If you are watching from YouTube, subscribe. You're watching from Instagram, subscribe. And we're soon to be on TikTok. So wherever you're watching from, ensure that you are following so you can get the notification. Good night, good night. Share the link, everybody. Shazila Ali, watching from Trinidad and Tobago. Good night, Shazila. Good night, Shirley Gray, watching from Guyana. Share the link, everybody. Share the link. Share the link. I'm so happy we have this entire thing up and running. And people are already texting me. Good night, good night, good night, everybody. Franklin, good night. Share the link, everyone. Share the link. All right. So before I go into the show, I have a video I want to show. So relax and let's look at this video. It has to do with the subject. Share the link, everybody, and let's have a look at this video.
The PPP's history of violence, racism, and terrorism in Guyana is well established. They killed hundreds of black citizens and burnt their homes during the civil war they incited from 1961 to 1964, and bombed the Son Chapman Linden Ferry, killing 43 black men, women, and children. Later, Bharrat Jagdeo's regime formed death squads that killed over 1,000 black young men. During the 2020 election saga, Jagdeo urged supporters to harass, menace, and attack President David Granger and his ministers.
When the ministers of Granger or Nagamoto come here, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them up, free up the country. They're gonna face a different situation right across the country.
Threatened that there will be no peace in Guyana.
If they think that they can have the kind of peace that we have now, they're wrong, very, very wrong.
And sent a PPP gang member to threaten to kill President Granger and his cabinet. Irfan Ali and a gang of PPP hooligans attacked then Foreign Minister Dr. Karen Cummings and tried to overturn her vehicle. Anil Nanlal threatened to kill journalists and to run Afro-Guyanese citizens out of Guyana.
It's the same American doorstep they will have to run. It is the same CARICOM that they will have to go to. It is the very they will not have repercussions, and they live in some insular world that they are insulated. Well, they will learn bitterly.
Everybody doesn't have a newspaper to use as a weapon. Yes, I told them, I said them, people got weapons. Right? They don't have newspaper to use as a weapon, they have weapons. And when you continue to attack people like that, and they have no way of responding, they will just walk with their weapon into the same fucking Safan Street office, and what comes to do? And innocent Peter Peter was happy for fucking Parliament. They tell you innocent, they tell you honestly, man to man, that's what happens.
This is a protest and a struggle against racism and injustice, and this is what we are working to eliminate.
The PPP, murderous, oppressive, ruthless, racist, violent, bad for Guyana.
Total factual. Totally factual. Totally factual. Keep sharing the link, everybody. Keep sharing the link. Keep sharing the link. Now, that's the Attorney General. He was serving as Attorney General then, still serving as Attorney General now. He said, I am telling you what will happen soon. People will get their weapons and go into cultural news. And he started to say, innocent people will pay. And then he said, Peter will pay for Paul. I have some notes here. So listen, throughout history, Bharrat Jagdeo and others in the PPP have been allowed to get away with calling us the N-word, calling us words that mean the N-word, subjugating us, oppressing us, and killing us. They have gotten away with it. And because they have gotten away with it, they believe that they're invincible. They kill all them black people, yeah. They form a resistance, kill them out. Call them criminals and kill them out. That is the MO of the PPP. So I wrote a piece today that I want to read, and then I'll go into commentary. Throughout history, the PPP has demonstrated hatred for African Guyanese. Their policies and practices tell us that black hate is in their DNA. It's like a congenital cancer. The PPP only tolerates a few token Afro-Guyanese amongst them, we call them Negroes, for theatrics, to feign diversity, and as a reference point for political correctness. It's a gimmick that allows them to boast. Look how many blacks we have among us. But make no mistake, the Negroes in the PPP are paid or induced or bribed servants. They have no independence of thought. They are mandated to follow party directives unhesitatingly. They are also obedient. They also obediently shed their black identity and embrace and defend their master's philosophy of PPP East Indian supremacy. Any departure from those instructions and from that philosophy and the instructions of their puppet masters renders them excommunicated from the PPP, kicked out. The reason the PPP has to pay a bribe, either in contracts or a high-flying life or money or grants to Afro-Guyanese to remain among them, to support the facade of diversity, is because of the party's nasty history of oppression and subjugation of blacks throughout history. The PPP's history, the PPP's historic desire is to exercise full dominion, domination, and control over blacks. For them, governing blacks by the threat of force, state violence, using police to curb black freedom of speech, and to enforce their morals, quote unquote, it's a subtle form of contemporary slavery, are an attractive political strategy to achieve their objective of forming an ethnocracy in Guyana. The PPP has a compulsive obsession with controlling Black people. Those who resist are killed or framed and jailed. They use compliant and paid Negroes to achieve this. It is a playbook from slavery, where house Negroes were used to hunt for slaves and sell them to the masters, or used by the masters to catch runaway slaves. During the slave trade, these backstabbers and traitors were called slave catchers. Throughout history, the PPP has directed hate and violence at Blacks. From 1963 to today, they slaughtered Black citizens and burned their homes and villages from 1960 to 1964. PPP terrorists, as you heard in the video just now, bombed the Linden. We didn't have a road to Linden from Georgetown back then. And so people, like, they would go to Northwest or Bartica, would catch a ferry. And during the disturbances in the 1960s, the PPP bombed the ferry. It was called the Sam Chapman boat. And they killed 53 African Guyanese men, women, and children in that bombing. Between 1999 and 2010, during the Bharrat Jagdeo presidency, Jagdeo and the PPP orchestrated the murder of over 1,400 young Black men using death squads and murder for hire gangs, which they financed. And they attempted to rationalize these killings by labeling the victims criminals. So note, every time Bharrat Jagdeo doesn't like somebody, he calls them a criminal. And he only does this to Black people. Burke is a criminal. Norton is a criminal. Nigel is a criminal. It is racist. And the rest of the society tolerate it. But you want Black people to start saying East Indians are criminals, and the entire Guyanese society would go crazy. Oh, dare these racist Black people call us Indians criminals. But Bharrat Jagdeo and the PPP could get rid of it, get away with it. On January 30th, 2006, PPP Death Squad's operative assassinated Ronald Waddle, a journalist and a Black rights and opposition political activist. He murdered him as he was leaving his home, gunned him down. The Roger Can gang gunned him down. And based on the United States Justice Department evidence that they put on in court during the Roger Can trial, Roger Can called then Minister of Health, Leslie Ramsamy, and told him to call the doctors at Georgetown Hospital and let them know that Ronald Waddle's family was taking his gun-riddled body to Georgetown Hospital and they must let him die. On March 10th, 2015, PPP gunmen allegedly killed Courtney Cumming at Diamond. PPP Minister of Public Affairs in the Office of the Prime Minister, Kwame McCoy, was arrested for that murder. Subsequently, the Attorney General and one of his thugs were investigated for this murder, and then nothing happened. As usual, these murders were covered up by the police for the PPP. Since the PPP regained power in 2020, The PPP has allegedly used the security forces as their new death squad. So it's official. They don't scale out them black people. You know, it's just shoot them and call them criminals. They did it to Orrin Boston, Kevin Andrews, Quinton Bacchus, etc. They've also used the power of the government to cover up killings. Example, the Henry Boys. More recently, Adriana Young. Furthermore, the PPP has been subtly attempting to dehumanize and criminalize blacks by invoking slave terms to describe African Guyanese they hate. Bharrat Jagdeo presides over this campaign like a monster. He uses terms, notorious terms, like notorious terms and racist slurs from back in the slavery day, like criminal, low life, hungry belly, etc. This is the vice president of Guyana using these terms to describe black people. These words emanate from a mind of hate. It portrays an unrepentant bigot. He's the George Wallace of Guyana. And in order to neutralize the backlash and the criticism from these bigoted hate speech, he attacks those who criticize us as racist. Oh, he's racist. Burke is a racist. How dare him tell me that my words are racist? How dare Burke tell me that using low life against black people is racist? He's a racist. It's like, I'm not a puppet, you're a puppet. So he uses the offensive and call his description of people as racist to basically conceal his xenophobia for black people. And then he's like, no, those words have racist intent. And when he comes under pressure, he runs and takes photographs with black people. Hey, look how many black people I have around me. I am not racist. Blacks are around me. Come, come, come. I'm going to Linden. Call this one. Give them a contract. It's like if black people are for sale. Whenever we condemn the rank bigotry of Bharrat Jagdeo and the PPP, what is most frightening, though, is that this kind of behavior is accepted by the PPP, accepted by the wider society. Now, since we can remember, the PPP has been framing black people. Go through history, and especially since they came back into power. They came with a vengeance. They sat in Guyana in the back room and framed me. Oh, let us say that he extort money from the Indian business people. And then let's put the police commissioner, and he must put out, they can't even speak English properly. He must put out a wanted bulletin for Burke. And the whole America goes scared of Burke like he's a criminal. Right? That's Bharrat Jagdeo. And that is what they have been doing to African Guyanese. Listen to the Chief Justice. Don't listen to me. The Chief Justice just excoriated the government for trying to frame me in America. She condemned them for lying to a magistrate. Tell the magistrate, oh, Burke come to the country and commit a crime. He's a fugitive and he ran away from justice. That's what they did. How can we trust these people with government? How can we trust these people with government? And then you have the Attorney General making up stuff. I'm a criminal in America. I'm a sex offender in America. This is what they do to black people. And the rest of the society accepts it. Now, could you imagine David Granger as president instructing the police to frame an East Indian PPP member in Canada and put out a wanted bulletin for them in Canada? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine David Granger as president directing the police to put out a false, malicious wanted bulletin for an East Indian PPP member in Queens? Could you imagine Basil Williams as Attorney General under Granger coming out and lying to the court? What is happening in Guyana is a replay of what happened in the 50s and 60s and 200 years ago. 50s and 60s in America, sorry. And 200 years ago during slavery. The PPP wants to exercise domination in Guyana. They want to control black people just like the slave masters, the British slave masters did. That is their objective. They are pregnant with hate. That's their objective. And so as to pass it off, they run and bring in James Bond and this black person and that black person. They still hate us. 5 years from now, I want to see where James Bond will be. And by the way, every black leader in the PPP right now is in the PPP because they have some issue with the opposition PNC or AFC. Every black person in the leadership, the few, they're in there because they're disgruntled. Listen to all of them. The party doesn't attract black people of its own volition, of their own volition. They either got to bribe them, come and take some contract, and then you got to come to our rallies. We got to go and get his by Stephen Jacobs, because he's a cricketer, he's a sportsman, and Burke said, we're not getting no black people in party, bring him. Give him $500,000, $300,000 million contract, and so give him. That's the basis. That's the basis. And they can say that, oh, Burke is racist. He's talking about black people in the PPP. I don't care. I live in a different society where we see it and we call it. It's racist. The PPP does not have the interests of black people at heart. They killed us throughout history. Throughout history, they slaughtered us. And now, all of a sudden, we love black young people. Why? Because they think they can gaslight the black people, young people. And I want you all to share this video with all of our Afro-Guyanese young men and women so they could understand the history, so they could understand the nature of the beast. When they come to you, ask them what happened to Ronald Waddle. When Bharrat Jagdeo comes to you and asks you, hey, support the PP, say, I don't mind supporting the PP, but tell me what happened to Courtney Cumming. Tell me what happened to Quindon back in the there's the police. They sent out James Bond recently to say that all of these death squad killings were police excesses. See? They're trying to rationalize the death squad. And let me tell you something. At no time these people ever expressed regret for their notorious and murderous history. Bharrat Jagdeo never expressed regret for the genocide he carried out in the black population. Never. Their approach is to shut down everybody who talks about it. Their approach, frame Burke, frame Melly Mel, frame Paul Slow, everybody frame Amsterdam, frame everybody that talks. Sherrod Duncan, frame him. Every black talk show host, male, in Guyana has been arrested. Everyone, even Sherrod Duncan, member of parliament. And what shocked us is the arrest of baby Skello. The boy is a clown. He can barely string 2 sentences together. And he sings something but some goddess, Hindu goddess. And he was arrested. Not only arrested, he was remanded to jail. So baby Skello can't sing but Mother Lakshmi. That's a crime. Why? Because she's a Hindu god. She's East Indian people goddess. But Bharrat Jagdeo every Thursday could get on his high horses at Freedom House and violate the Racial Hostility Act and call black people all sorts of names that mean the N-word. All of those names that Bharrat Jagdeo calls from Cathy Hughes to me to Orbin, he consciously uses them because he wants to call us nigger. He wants, but he's finding other words to do it. Oh, low life. That's what it means. That's what the slave masters and them back in the day used to call black people, low life. Hungry belly dog. A big vice president sitting up with critics. Yeah, them hungry belly, yeah. And the rest of the society accepts it. Now, pause. I don't want to talk about myself, but I want to talk about the example. Now, look at the conspiracy against blacks throughout the PPP East Indian community. The PPP blatantly violated U.S. sovereignty, blatantly violated international law, blatantly violated the Guyana Constitution. Not a word from the ethnic media, Newsroom, Guyana Daily News, Guyana Times, Guyana Chronicle, none of them, all run by East Indians, PPP East Indians. None of them said anything. They celebrated it. Why? Because the target was an Afro-Guyanese. The Chief Justice made a monumental ruling, earth-shattering, that created precedent throughout the Commonwealth jurisprudence. The PPP East Indian ethnic media did not report it. They did not report it. Why? Because the court exonerated a black person whom the PPP and those East Indians in the media see as an enemy. So they conspired to keep it quiet. But then, so as to keep the narrative that their opponents who black are criminals, they put out something, say, oh, we have evidence that Burke committed extortion, and we're going to extradite him. Now, it's total BS. It makes the country look like a bunch of clowns running it, because the Chief Justice ruled that they lie. They made it up. How Burke could be an American commit a crime in Guyana? But all the ethnic media ran with it, because they want, when people Google Rickford Burke, like they've been telling people, oh, Google Rickford Burke and see what a criminal he is. Me, them, and the mother, and the father, and the grandparents, criminals alike. But This is what they have been doing. Slander, smear, Paul Slow, Melly Mel, Rickford Burke, all of the people who speak out against them who are black. You don't believe me? They charge Melly Mel with all kind of cybercrime. They went to frame Paul Slow and put him before the court, said he touched some woman's leg. Sexual harassment, sexual misconduct. They framed Shara Duncan and they're putting the police to do this. Remember we spoke about the slave catchers? Slave catchers in the police force. So nobody in Guyana has in the media has the fortitude to say, hold on. How come all of these black people that's speaking out against the PPP are targeted with crimes, with charges, criminal criminal charges? Nobody asked those questions because they're scared by Jagdeo with Turk, the bully, the uncouth creature, Bharrat Jagdeo, the bully. He would target them and say, how dare you ask us what child? You don't get to ask us that. We are an autocratic ethnocracy. We promote East Indian supremacy. And whatever we say, that's it. Don't ask. Bharrat Jagdeo sent a police officer all the way to America. The police commissioner sent Sarabo to the same BMSO to collect an envelope of money. That's a bribe. Collect money and a ticket to come to America. Now, suppose Sarabo was shot dead outside my house. Suppose he was shot dead outside my house, running into my yard with a gun. It was my Sabbath. If he was shot dead, he and his accomplice. The Chief Justice has said what they engaged in outside of in my yard at my front door was unlawful. Nobody in the Guyanese ethnic media, civil society said anything. Nothing. Nothing. Why? I'm a black man, so I deserve that. That's how deeply rooted racism is in the Guyanese society. I don't care what nobody says. Now, if Sarabo had been killed or shot for running into my yard with a gun, committing an international act of terrorism, all of these, Burke shoots police officer, blah, 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 blah. Burke's thugs injured. That would have been the headlines. The Chief Justice has ruled that what they engaged in is illegal. As a matter of fact, she said it was a frolic. Come for fun. Running into my property with a gun. Brandishing a gun. No condemnation in the media. Nothing. Nothing. Well, I don't know if they're going to be a second time, but I know for sure that the second time will not play out like the first time. Nobody says anything. Nobody. Bharrat Jagdeo is the same. Bharrat Jagdeo called a black woman, a member of parliament, a lowlife, and no one said anything. That's a substitute word for calling her the N-word. He really wanted to call her a nigger. That's why he said that. So every time you guys hear Bharrat Jagdeo call somebody a lowlife, he intends to call them the N-word. Now, because I've said that, he can run a car to East Indian people lowlife. I said, well, I call everybody lowlife. He's a congenital racist. It's hereditary. It's in his DNA. And like I point out, who could be more low-life than Bharrat Jagdeo, who grew up eating snail, cricketer, and cockerbelly fish from the dirty leopard trench water at Unity? Who can be more low-life than that? That's low-life. That's the essence, epitome of low-life. But now, they're in a bind, as I've been saying. They're in a bind. They don't have enough Indian votes to win the elections. So all of a sudden, we love black people a long time. From beginning, we love black people. Yeah, we kill them out. But all that we kill out were criminals. Yeah, we're there. Yeah, they're a criminal, man. We kill them out, we call them a criminal. Sorry, there's somebody trying to make a contribution there. But I did this show because I want our young people to understand that the PPP doesn't like them. Throwing a couple contracts at them doesn't mean they care about them. It is because they're in a political bind. They're trying with the Venezuelans. They're trying with the young blacks. No black person, given the history of the PPP and what we're seeing playing out with Bharrat Jagdeo every day, using the N-word or alternatives to the N-word to describe us, and his expression of hate every single week, hate, 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 should vote for the PPP. They hate us. They hate us. They have done nothing to atone for the wickedness and the evil they have done to African Guyanese in this country. They've killed us out throughout history. They slaughtered our young black men during Bharrat Jagdeo's presidency. They covered up the murder of so many black people. And now they want our vote. No! No! Don't give them your vote. They hate you. No. Let them apologize for the murderous history, for the racism, for the racial discrimination, for using the police to kill us out, using the police to cover up murders. Let them apologize. Let us have justice, and then we'll think about that. Don't vote for them. No young person should countenance racism. No young Afro-Guyanese should countenance giving out a bribe because they want you to forget about your history. No. No. We are descendants of the indomitable slave. And we will fight on. We will fight on until we end racism like the slaves end slavery. Until we end PPP domination like the slaves did. We will fight on until we end the murderous conduct of the PPP. Don't give them your vote. We want justice. Have a good night, everybody.
The PPP's history of violence, racism, and terrorism in Guyana is well established. They killed hundreds of black citizens and burnt their homes during the civil war they incited from 1961 to 1964, and bombed the Son Chapman Linden Ferry, killing 43 black men, women, and children. Later, Bharrat Jagdeo's regime formed death squads that killed over 1,000 black young men. During the 2020 election saga, Jagdeo urged supporters to harass, menace, and attack President David Granger and his ministers.
When the ministers of Granger or Nagamoto come here, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them up, free up the country. They're going to face a different situation right across the country.
Threatened that there will be no peace in Guyana.
If they think that they can have the kind of peace that we have now, they're wrong, very, very wrong.
And sent a PPP gang member to threaten to kill President Granger and his cabinet. Irfan Ali and a gang of PPP hooligans attacked then Foreign Minister Dr. Karen Cummings and tried to overturn her vehicle. Anil Nanlal threatened to kill journalists and to run Afro-Guyanese citizens out of Guyana.
It's the same American doorstep they will have to run. It is the same CARICOM that they will have to go to. It is a very, they will not have repercussions, and they live in some insular world that they are insulated. Well, they will learn bitterly.
Everybody doesn't have a newspaper to use as a weapon. Yes, sir. I told them, I said them, people got weapons. Right? They don't have newspaper to use as a weapon, they got weapons. And when you continue to attack people like that, and they have no way of responding, they will just walk with their weapon into the same fucking Safran Street office, and what comes to do? And innocent Peter will not pay for fucking parliament. They tell you innocent, they tell you honestly, man to man, that's what happens.
This is a protest and a struggle against racism and injustice, and this is what we are working to eliminate.
The PPP, murderous, oppressive, ruthless.